The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Well, hello and welcome back again to the Tap to Table show. And I am your host, Marie-Chantal, where we take everyday recipes and we enhance them with good crafted beer. And today I have my guest from Birch Brewing, Bill Herlicka. How are you doing today?
Great, how about yourself?
Good. So are you a fan of like pulled pork?
You had me at pulled. Barbecue, anything that leads into that, I'm good.
Well, excellent. Well, we're actually going to be using one of your beers. It's Imperial Red IPA. Yeah.
Love it.
Well, you make excellent beer in anything, so there's really nothing that I haven't tried I don't like. So.
Well, thank you. I find brewing is a lot like cooking. When you love what you do, you know your ingredients, it shows in the final product.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. So, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing our pulled pork. So what we have is I like to use the butt of the pork. I find it to be where it has the most fat and also the best taste. So you can see from the pork that we have here, there is a lot of what we call marlization, and there is tons of fat here and also on the bottom. So that's gonna be an important piece whenever this is like cooking, because we're gonna slowly cook this for 9 hours. This is about 5 pounds of meat that we got here. So I'd recommend between 8 to 9 hours of slow cooking at 210 on the temperature. So I've made some dry rubs. You can make your own dry rub. Do you usually make your own dry rub, or do you usually just?
I'm not that good.
You're not that good? So you usually just buy some?
I have the smoked jalapeno, and then I throw in some sugars to make it all work.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what we're doing. So, so here I made a nice little dry rub because that had some nice little sweet notes to it. There is some hints of nutmeg in my pork rub. So we're gonna sprinkle this all over, and we want to get it in as much as possible. And don't be afraid, ladies, get your hands dirty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, I would not have thought of nutmeg myself.
Oh really?
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it has nutmeg. It also has ginger in there. I've put some like garlic spices. There's also onion powder, onion salt, paprika, and if you like it a little spicy, you can always add like an additional red pepper in there. But we're putting that in there, and we don't want to miss a beat in every spot. So we jack this up, baby, nice and good. So, and it's funny because I'm originally from Texas, and I think it's like a requirement to know how to do pulled pork. If not, then I think you're like frowned upon. What? You don't know how to do no pork? What's up with you? So, all right, so we're gonna put this here. We're gonna put the rest of this dry rub in. Get it all nice and good. Now, one of the tricks, I'm not sure what you use, but I like to use a little bit of orange juice, some sort of like acid in here. And that helps like as a tenderizer. You can also use like pineapple juice or even lemon juice. Anything that's citric will really help as far as for tenderizing it. Now, final component, we'll add beer. And so far I've added, yes. And we got some more beer to drink afterwards.
Isn't that part of cooking?
I know.
A little for the recipe, a little for me.
Exactly, that's the way yeah. So we're just gonna dip it in here. And I used about half a cup of each on 5 pounds. So if it's a 10 pounder, then I definitely use a cup of it. And then definitely gotta get more beer. final process is brown sugar. Or I've made caramel sauces and put it on here. Maple's really good too as a final. So that sweetener will kind of add a nice little touch to it. Okay.
It smells good. And you have
Isn't that? Yeah. I know. I'm like so excited already. So, all right, now I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna go wash my hands, and then I'll be right back. So, all right, I'm back. Look, Ma, hands are clean. So, now we're going to cover it up and nice aluminum foil. Keep it nice and tight. And so we're going to put it in for 210. And you're gonna let it sit for a good 8 to 9 hours. Now, with the pulled pork, you have a couple of options here. If you want a nice little crust on top, then what you can do is you can pull it out after 6 hours, put it on the grill, let it get it nice and toasty. And what you wanna do is you wanna slowly rotate so you can get that char, and it's gonna really compel those juices to stay in very well. Once you've added that whole nice char all the way around the pork, pull it out, put it back into the pan, and then let it sit, again, low temperature, for the other 2 to 3 hours. Pull it out, and wait till you see. My mouth is watering already. All right, now we're gonna take this baby, and we're gonna throw it in the oven. All right, we're gonna go put this in. I have the temperature set already at 210. Put in the oven. Ooh, getting a facial. All right, it's going in, and we close. And now we're gonna enjoy some beer while we wait. There we go. All right. Should be a nice little song playing. I'm gonna take this. Now we're going to pull the pork, and I'll show you a couple of different ways how we do this.
Smells amazing. I think I'm ready to eat. You probably want these first.
Yeah.
It was called pulled pork, right?
Yes, it is.
Do we have to wait for pulled pork?
No, I guess not. So we'll
I'm a
see.
big guy. That might just be a bill size
I know
piece.
this could. Is this a bill size piece?
That's a bill size
That's
piece.
a bill size piece.
But
yeah.
we'll let you do the pulled pork. So I'll learn how to do this the proper way.
So there's a couple of different ways. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, you can use 2 forks. There's also some things they're called the claws, are really cool. And basically, you just go in. If the pork is ready, it's like butter. It just pulls like this, and then
It's
you
just
just
falling apart.
Yeah, you just constantly just do the hand motion in order to kind of get it. And it's like, if you could see the juices, yeah, it's good. Now, I like to get my fingers all into things, so I like to get, I'll use some gloves, and I like to just go ahead and pull it that way. So just kind of giving you a couple of options, but this is what I prefer.
I've always thought you used your hands, because the first time I tried it, not only did I do a bad job, I used knives, and it had like a real chopped up.
It had a chopped up,
look.
yeah. So
this doesn't look what I get when I get really good stuff.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Because this way, when you're using your hands to pull, then I can kind of feel the texture, and I can kind of just easily just pull it off. And it should literally do this. Like it shouldn't be any effort whatsoever as far as you're doing that. If your fingers hurt afterwards, then the pork wasn't completely cooked well enough. And it's really hot. Yeah,
You need
baby.
that hefty smell-o-vision right now, because if you're standing right where I am, it's really hard not to just grab a fork and say, "Excuse me, Marie, I'm gonna eat this."
If I turn away, you like grab some and it's gonna be gone. So, oh my gosh, yeah. So I also made some barbecue sauce. Do you like spicy?
Of course.
Of course, yeah, of course you do.
I've been to Texas.
I know. So I made some also barbecue sauce to go with this as a little touch. It's an additional option. You don't have to. The pork has been seasoned well enough and set in that you can just put it on your bread, which I made some homemade bread.
Ooh.
Yeah, beer bread, of course.
Of course. First time I met you, you were making beer cupcakes. I said, bring them down, we'll see.
Yeah.
And then we ate them all. And she's like, boy, that didn't even take 10 seconds.
I know.
So come to the beer fest, we'll feature you. And
I know,
there's people
it
at the beer
was.
fest eating cupcakes
It was.
all over the place.
I know.
It was awesome.
It was funny, yeah, because the beer at the time was called Hooksett Ale.
Yep.
And you said, here, see what you can do with this. And then we ended up, I made something, and it had notes of the caramel in there. So I ended up making caramel jalapeno cupcakes. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize he was a spicy guy. And, and he was like, these are awesome. Good. So it was a hit.
Yes.
So this is just about done. And I think my fingers got cooked in the process too because it's ready to turn off. So I would recommend after you pull it out of the oven, let it sit for about a good 20 minutes. Don't let it sit for too long, and then just kind of go in there and just slowly pull it out because it's a lot easier when the pork is warm to do the pulling process. So, all right, I think we got good chunks in there. So,
good.
Yeah. So this is the meat. It is absolutely divine. Oh, look at that. Just makes it like butter. It's just, I'm so excited. I don't know. I can never be a vegetarian.
No.
No offense to any vegetarians out there. So, okay. All right. So this is nice and pulled. And I'm going to cut some bread. And then we'll enjoy our pulled pork sandwiches with some beer. With some beer that you brought.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Excited. So, okay.
I got the beer.
Okay, you ready to dig in?
Oh yeah.
The moment. All right. So we got some nice little artisan bread. It's wheat bread. And
I like the wheat bread with my pulled pork sandwich. You know why?
Why?
Because I feel like I'm doing something better. That way I can put a little more meat and sauce on there.
It's like eating with a purpose, right? You kind of feel like you are gaining a little bit of leeway by putting it in.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's like that one piece of broccoli you get next to your plate of Chinese food. It's all been in the deep fryer, but I got that broccoli, so it's good for you.
It's absolutely. Yeah. So, I know. I guess I'm still old school. I still love my white bread. Still got to have it.
Wow.
But at least the beer has wheat and it has essential nutrients, so I'm going to go with that and enjoy it. Absolutely.
Boy, I tell you, the smell of this stuff is amazing.
Isn't that?
I mean,
got a
it's almost like a work of art.
Well, so is your beer. Talking about art, let's.
Would you like a beer?
Yes, let's pour.
All right. So,
Yeah.
I'd like to pour the Berliner Weiss.
Okay.
Berliner Weiss is one of our styles that's really going insane right now.
Yeah.
I started making it 4 years ago, and the few people I knew that had it thought I was nuts. Actually, I want to swap that out. Apparently, I got an end of the run can. That's too yeasty.
That's too yeasty?
Yeah.
Well, still good?
Oh, it's still tart and good.
Still tart and good. Okay. Well, we can always go with that. So go ahead and explain then about this though. As far as it is becoming a trend, people are starting to kind of get more into that type of beer. Why do you think that?
Well, we started making the Berliner 4 years ago.
Uh huh.
And nobody knew what it was. And I I had to basically hand sell every bottle almost.
Oh, really?
From there,
So it was a hard sell.
yeah. But after a year or so of doing it, the next year it started to catch on. Because the first thing people try a beer like a Berliner Weiss, they say, "Wow, that's sour." Well, yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. And they're like, beer can be sour. It's like, beer can be hoppy, beer can be sour, beer can be sweet, beer can be dry. All of the things and then some. And you know, it's such an eye opener because most people have only had, you know, the national stuff, which is all a basic lager that everyone makes.
Yeah.
You know, they advertise it as crisp, clean, refreshing. I'm like, what is that? Is that a glass of water? Is that a beer? Tell me about the beer. Don't tell me cold, crisp, refreshing. You know, like this hop session.
Yeah.
It's got a nice hop nose. It's American hops, and then, you know, it's got real nice. Yes,
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's just nice soft malt that goes with it.
Yeah.
You got that bitterness, but that's the kind of thing that would go real nice with a bite of the sandwich.
Yes, and we can't forget what we used today, so we definitely want to go that. So
You
I'm
can say
going
what
to.
we used while I eat.
Yeah. Well, you know, I can't just not let my guests eat alone, so I'm going to have a bite myself.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah. I really wish I were here. Oh my gosh. That was good.
Anytime you have an invitation and it involves you cooking, I'm always like, yes, I'll be right there. Doesn't matter. Starting with cupcakes with jalapenos on it to pulled pork sandwiches. This is a little gem down here in Nashville.
It is. Oh my goodness, I think I took too much. I was like so hungry, I was ready to like dig in. Yeah. So yes, wanted to mention we are on location at the local Delights Cafe in downtown Nashua, where we do farm to table and beer baked goods. Nothing's better than that. So I am enjoying this. So we need, I'm going to drink this, and then we gotta pop open the Imperial Red.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And every time I think of that, I was thinking of like Imperial Stormtroopers, like, because I'm huge into Star Wars. So yes, that was the first thing I was thinking.
It wasn't quite what I thought when I was thinking about naming the beer, but, you know, one of my pet peeves as a brewer, more as a customer, every time I'd go out shopping for beer, you know, I'd go to these stores, you know, there's 100, 500, 800 different beers on the shelf. So you look at them,
Yeah.
you're like, I don't quite get what this name means. And there's no information on the bottle. Like, this is our Imperial Red IPA. It's called Imperial Red IPA. Kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. If you're not familiar with what Imperial means, it's a method of taking the elements of a beer and then making it stronger without losing the elements that made that original beer possible.
Oh.
So-
See, getting some good little tips here
Yep.
for anyone.
It's a trend that started in the late 90s when people realized an Imperial IPA is a tasty beer.
Oh.
And that's where the Imperial IPA started. And then once they said, well, we can do an Imperial IPA, well, what else can we imperialize? And then people went nuts imperializing everything. It's kind of come back to some sense of sanity, but, you know, for me, I like a good red ale, but I like something a little stepped up.
Yeah.
So this has got a beautiful malt base,
It does.
beautiful color.
See the color?
You know, we even tell you when we bottled it, which isn't always easy to find. We tell you the ABV,
Yep.
and then on the side, I like to tell you a little bit about the story of the beer. Because if you're buying it, it might be nice to know those things.
Yes, and it was funny that you mentioned that because that is one of the things that I enjoy a lot about good crafted beer is that there's always a story to tell for every beer that you taste. And it's a nice conversation piece So it's not just a beer to just drink how many bottles I can put down. It's a beer, let's sit down, let's enjoy it, let's see where the elements are, like what's flow, let's guess. So it definitely is. I mean, it's very enjoyable, and that's the artistry that gets put into a nice crafted beer. So cheers to that, and I'm gonna have some of this. And
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fuller in body than the last one. That's where the 8.5% comes from. I'm sorry, 8.8% on this one. Sometimes I get a little extra grain in there. But it's got a
So
different
how much did
blend.
you have before the show? No.
None, of course.
None, of course not. So, so the Imperial IPA was one of the beer that we used in with the pulled pork. Like I said the notes that I tasted, you can definitely, there's some nice little like hints of sweetness in there, which I really know that it was very aromatic beer, and it just did very, very well with the pulled pork that we have for today. So.
Oh, yeah.
But let's talk about white birch. Let's talk about like the history, how it got started, and like what inspired you to
Sure.
to brew. And
So I've been making beer since 1994. It doesn't sound that long until I realized that I've had cars older than 1994, longer than 1994 has been, and like 21-year-olds right now are from 1994. But that's okay. That means I've had a lot of time to practice
yes,
and get good. In 2008, the recession was coming. I used to work for a very large company. It was a lot of fun, but you could see the end was coming.
yep,
My wife and I worked different industries, but a lot of our peers were losing their jobs, and there was no next industry to go to. We weren't happy, and we thought about it. We said, what do we want to do for the next 25 years? And do we want to be where our peers are? If we're going to reinvent ourselves, why not now?
yeah, absolutely.
I've been making beer forever. People love it. I've sent it around to a number of states. It's been to Australia, India. I have friends in India.
Oh,
I brought
really?
back a case. And in the heat of India, they had 10 to 12% Belgian quadruples.
Oh,
They loved it.
there you go.
My wife said, you love to brew, why not try opening a brewery? So we opened a brewery making beer 15 to 20 gallons at a time, because unlike today with all these awesome beer stores and places doing craft beer, New Hampshire really had no craft destinations. There was a real question as to whether or not there'd be a market for what I do.
Yeah, which can be pretty risky. I mean, that's a scary thing. So
It is. We have an Imperial Red IPA, we have a Session IPA, we have a sour golden German style beer, we have a sour blueberry beer. Those weren't mainstream, they aren't mainstream today. It's getting more so, but we opened the doors, and through word of mouth, one store found us, another store found us. We started with 3 stores. And just from there, it grew to the point where we needed a distributor for New Hampshire, because as much as I love driving New Hampshire, if you've done it, you realize you don't get very far very fast.
No.
So we fast forward from July 2009 to now.
Yeah.
We're turning 6.
really,
amazing. So-
6 years.
Yeah, next month we're gonna have a big open house. We're gonna do a double dry hop, double IPA.
Yeah.
We have a pulled pork being cooked by a barbecue competition team for us, and it's just going to be a big old party.
Well, good.
So, it's been an amazing 6 years, and now to be able to do 30 barrels at a time, we're in 12 states, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I've seen, and I want to also say, thank you for even some of the opportunities you brought with, as you know, I have a company called The Beerkery, where we do beer baked goods, and a lot of that was, inspired with some of the goods that you have, because you do great products. So we'll be celebrating what this year, and when will we be celebrating?
July 11th.
July 11th,
12 to 4 is the open house.
12 to 4.
Yeah.
The day before my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be celebrating then over there. with that.
Absolutely. We'll be doing tours, free samples, free food.
Okay.
It's just a good time to celebrate the fact that we turned 6.
Oh, that's going to be great. So to just kind of wrap up everything we got, I want to say thank you very much for being on the show, talking about the different beers you have, enjoying the treat. He's going to be eating the rest of it after the show, maybe taking some home. But I just want to say thank you again for everybody for joining on with the show, the Tap to Table show. And if you want to know more about recipe ideas, then you can tune in to our Facebook page, Tap to Table show on Facebook to get more, how the recipe was done. Again, thank you again, and strength, safe, and peace, and cheers.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.